Welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
So we have Paris, Milan, New York. What about LA? Are we relevant when it comes to the fashion world? Maybe Eddie Slimane thinks we are.
Yes, of course. I mean, Eddie is a big, it's very important designer, and I think that the fact that he moved here means a lot. And when you see his collection, you understand that there is a LA mood. Mm-hmm. You cannot say there is LA fashion, but this LA mood, it exists, yes.
But we're not that important in the fashion world.
I don't think so, no.
No. I love when I have this kind of conversation. Well, let's start with good things. Cinema Italian Style is giving you an award this year. We had Giuseppe Tornatore yesterday in the show. And, well, you don't make movies, but you always loved movies.
Yes.
Do you remember that first moment when you went to a movie theater and you were in awe of what you were seeing on the screen?
I think, that movie, for me, it's something that, probably for the old Italian, something that we have in our DNA, because everything that has been in the past about the cinema, Italian cinema, has been so relevant around the world that you cannot be part of. The neorealism was our cinema. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was something that came from Italy, and when we talk about Visconti and Fellini, I mean, we have had and De Sica, we have so much. And I think that today it's a kind of, again, of Italian renaissance about cinema, and we have a very good filmmaker. And probably something that we all feel about movies, about cinema. So what I remember first, I don't know what the translation was
Italian or American?
It was no Italian. When it was the moment of Fellini. I was too young to understand exactly what was 8.5. This kind of movies for me was a little bit difficult at that time. But I think that we start more with American movies, or was more in this period. This was about that more than Italian. After I understood more.
Yeah, you have to see Fellini when you're grown up.
No, you have to understand. You have to understand, because of course when you see the neorealism, of course you know what you are talking about. Mm-hmm. When it was so oniric and so different, you need. It was more difficult than, for instance, Visconti, that everybody can see.
And again, it's not an insult, but you're not a filmmaker and you received this award, and then you ask yourself, why am I getting this award? Yes. You've been working a lot from your magazine, launching new talents, or at least backing them, saying, okay, I want you to be in the magazine. Yeah, no,
it's true, because when they proposed me this award, I said, do I deserve it? I mean,
you did?
Did I do something good? But I think that I really support a lot cinema. Mm-hmm. And especially, it's not only to support cinema. I think that to support the talents and to support directors, and it's a vision. And for me, that for my magazine, that you are not only a magazine which you can read a lot, but where you can go through the images. Yeah. To have this vision through cinema, it helps me a lot, even in my job. Mm-hmm. So to support them, in a way, I support myself, because we both talk through images. Mm-hmm. So we send messages through images. And I think that I did a lot. I do every year at least 1 or 2 issues about cinema, about Venezia every year. Mm-hmm. But even in February about Hollywood, about the awards, the Academy Awards. So I really got in touch with a lot of the actors themselves, the filmmaker. I became personal friend with them. So. But for me, it's very important, because they give me the vision that they have, and I get the vision and I put it in the magazine.
You make your own spin, in a way, in the magazine. Yes. Now, you're also going to Stanford, and you're going to be talking about that relationship that exists between fashion and cinema, and customer designers, and etc.
Yes.
How do you put the ideas together for this conference?
I think that I really, again, I went through the job, through my work, the way that I do when I decided to make an issue. When I decide to make an issue, I have to organize how to make an issue. It means how to make the shooting, who is making the shooting, and the way that it could happen. And I did the same for this kind of lecture, because I thought that when you talk about fashion and movies, you have to think in a different way, because there are some movies that really influenced fashion. Like when you say, I don't know, Belle de Jour, it's changed the way for that generation to get dressed. And it was not only because of Saint Laurent, because it was even the attitude that was in the movie, you know, the way, or many different, you know, many other movies that we have seen. Or sometimes it's the good combination between a designer and a filmmaker. Like it was lately, I don't know, Baz Luhrmann and Prada, or was Capucci and Pasolini, or what, you know, it's always happened, or Armani. So it became many, many times that it's really good connection. It's not only to work, not only to make the costumes, but really to work together about it. So it's a combination this way. And after this one side that for me, it's the cinema is always the mirror of the time that we live. Because as we saw exactly the neorealism was really the mirror of that time, and was the fashion of that time, and was really reflecting what was the way the women were wearing. And so that's what became very important, how cinema and fashion, they're not something different. They can only work together, sometimes in a very strict way, but even when they do not, they are really involved. They're really involved one with the other one. So I will, and after there is the historical side, and of course we cannot forget Visconti and all this side, and how even again this kind of fashion was very important for not only costumes, but again was very important for the vision of the movie.
Well, the way you're explaining it, for me, maybe each issue of your magazine is like a little movie.
In a way, you know what? As I always say, you know, my big talent is to find talents, and because and to put all together. And it's the same in a way for the director. He needs a big talent in every kind of field. It's not only the actor. It's about the music. It's about photography, scenography. I mean everything. And it's the same when you do a magazine. You need you are the director, and everyone has to give you the best.
For how long you been doing?
25 years.
25? And like 7 with the male version, the Vogue.
And yes, from 7 from L'Uomo Vogue, yes. And
you never got tired?
No, because you know what? Every day I think that I can do better. So, and sometimes I do, sometimes not. But it's a new chance, it's a new challenge, and it gives you always the same kind of enthusiastic way that I always had.
When you put together a magazine like this one every month, what is the most difficult part? Do you enjoy the fact of getting the new talent?
To deal with the photographers.
It is?
They're all a prima donna, and so you have to deal with them, to give them, you are the best. I'm sure that you're shooting with the, so it's very difficult.
But you should be the prima donna, not them.
But you have not to let them to know.
That's very good. Recently, Emma Watson, who's very lovely, I love her style, very nice person as well, also. She talked about feminism at the United Nations. And it seems like people are talking again about that. What is your take on feminism right now? Is it important to talk about it?
For instance, for me, it's very important because I work for United Nations as a global ambassador against hunger and even for Fashion for Development. And it was the main point, is to empower women. There is no society in the world that without women in a strong way, with power, they can do something good. And when you go, especially in the certain kind of countries, that this could be Africa, but even Bangladesh or Cambodia or Vietnam, this kind of a community, if the woman has not the dignity of the salary, they are not considered. So if you empower them, you empower the entire society. So it's the feminism in this way, I think, is the most important goal that you can do. And even Ban Ki-moon in the Millennium Goal put Africa and empower women as one of the first goals.
What is the biggest problem you think women have right now that are facing women in general?
That, you know, even if you are the most good woman, very few that could be successful, because generally speaking, when you have to choose between a man and a woman, they still choose men. And I don't say that it's wrong. I said it's just because it's an old story, and so we still are in this way, but I think women have to fight more, in a way. But when they do better than men.
They do. Oh, yes, they do. Ask my mother. And a magazine like this one is very important, the image. You want to open a page, you want to see beauty.
Yeah.
You want to see something chic.
Yeah.
But recently, for instance, Keira Knightley, she appeared in a magazine. She was half naked. And she said, I don't want to be retouched. I don't want to do the photo shoot here. I want people to know my breasts as they are in real. Do you agree with that, or you think sometimes you have to manipulate for the product that you're selling?
But this is more up to the photographers. Because for me, this Photoshop is destroying everything. Because you see the girls, they are even 14, or not 14 not, but 16, that they can retouch so much, they look like fake, you know, they're fake. You cannot, when you have a movement, even if you're young, you have movement in your face. So that it cannot be that you look like a doll. So that's why I like even some photographers like Peter Limber. Peter Limber doesn't retouch his pictures, and that's why he likes women, and he really wants the women to look beautiful, of course, but beautiful with the light, not beautiful with the retouch. And I think that Photoshop went too far.
Okay, and finally, I know you are becoming a fan of all the social media. You're a blogger. I was going to ask you about. Bloggers are enemies of fashion editors, maybe? How do you see that? But now you're becoming one.
No, I'm a different kind of blogger, honestly. I'm not this kind of blogger who just invent themselves. Okay, I will open a blog and I will talk about. I think that I'm reliable enough after 25 years that when I say something, it could be reliable. It could be people can understand. So if I'm talking, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not only like a joke. So my blog is not to be more famous in the fashion world, but is to be much closer to the young people, to let them to understand what could be the evolution that they can have in the future about their work. And so they don't need only to read about the last trend, but to understand why the last trend is the last one, because it comes from a long story. So you have even a kind of education. For me, I just do more as education than like a prima donna story. Exactly.
But when you tweet, you like to tweet, or is it because you think that's the way to communicate these days?
I think that today you need to communicate. You need it. Today, without even making anything, we have a kind of a community. They really answer every day to the blog. They send the tweet. They are on Facebook. You know, it's on Instagram. I launch some contests for young photographers. So it's like to communicate and to even to give possibility to other people, young people, to have an awareness of themselves. Because maybe they have 20 likes by themselves. They have, I don't know, 3,000 with me. So they give them the possibility to be known.
No, I love the fact that you like to discover new talent. And one thing that I want to ask you just before saying goodbye, if there's someone who's watching this interview in all Latin America and says, I don't think I have a style, how I can find a style? Well, what advice would you give to that person?
First, they should buy a mirror. Because, you know, many of these people, they buy because somebody else tells them that this is the last way to be. Maybe it is, but it doesn't fit to you. So you should have the way to be yourself. And you can only have style if you are real. And you have your own way. You have something that is not good, make them even worse. It becomes much stronger than to try to hide yourself behind something else.
I love that advice. Thank you very much. It was very nice meeting you.